2, and here today to do my November TBR. Even though we don't look like it, I got my Halloween cat here, and I have my Halloween shirt on, and it's pretty gloomy and gray and rainy outside. But yeah, I'm here to talk about all my plans for November. And when I say all my plans, this is not exactly all my plans, because I do plan on reading some ebooks and some audiobooks sprinkled in throughout the month, but this is the physical books that I plan on reading, which is going to be the majority of them. I got some library books, and I have books that are for my shelf, and so I thought I'd first start with library books. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He's like rolling around on the floor, so you might hear him like snorting and sniffing as he scratches his back. So this is, the first one is The Birds of the Photo Arc, and this I had mentioned in my recommendations video, the photo arc, and so this one's featuring just birds. And so this, I'll give you an example of what I was talking about, how mostly they're just going to be close-ups with, sometimes there's a paragraph description, but most of the time it's just, let's see, it's just little quotes of how easy or difficult they were to film, and their name as well, so you know. Because some of the birds are recognizable, and some of them, yeah, I have no idea what this bird is. So, yeah, this will be a fun read. And so when I was browsing the library for this book, I stumbled upon quite a few more bird books. This is going to sound like I really read bird books, but no, I really like all animals. But yeah, with a library, it's not like a bookstore where you have to pay for all the books. And so, yeah, I'll take this one and this one and this one. These all piqued my interest. And so this one is Vulture, The Private Life of an Unloved Bird by Katie Fallon. And, I read books about owls, and, there's a lot of love books like owls and doves and ravens, but vultures you don't hear about as much, especially, or at least in like the positive light on it. So yeah, this I'm hoping will shed some light on the activities of vultures, and yeah, this also has some pictures as well. Yeah, I'm hoping to learn a lot more about, vultures and what role they play in the ecosystem. And then I have The Genius of Birds by Jennifer Ackerman. And this is about the author. She travels all over the world, and so she talks about, there's different, I'm trying to find the pictures here, the different animals in different continents, but also about how birds cope with like hurricanes and like places like mass devastation, like how we always hear reports about how humans recuperate after that, but how do birds deal with that? And so then I also have from the library, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Big Questions from Tiny Mortals About Death by Caitlin Doty. And this book, it actually matches my cat with the green eyes and the black cat. But yeah, I've heard a lot about Doty, but I haven't picked up any of her books. She's really known for Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and that one looked good, but it wasn't something I exactly want to read about, about death, and yeah. I know it's there, but it's not something I want to like spend a lot of time reading about. But this one I think is more for is it a children's audience? And so maybe it'd be a lighter, is this for children? It doesn't, but I think it's more for the younger audience. But so yeah, this hopefully I'm going to get through it without getting too depressed. And then I have Annotated with Oil, How Christianity and Crude Made Modern American by Darren Dakuk, something like that. This was on my TBR previously, but it was when I was moving, and so I didn't have the time for it. But now I'm going to make the time. And this is about how, basically it's kind of self-explanatory, how oil and Christianity shaped America, because those two, were two huge things that still play a part today in today's politics, and can start wars, and so yeah, this is going to be very intriguing. Let's see. Then I have The House on Nauset Marsh by Wyman Richardson, and this is one from Steve Donahue. He did his bookshelf tour, and so this one he was going through his nonfiction shelf. This one sounded really good, and it's pretty short, so I'll be able to get to it pretty quickly. This is all about Cape Cod and a house on a marsh, and so it's like a I don't know when it was written, but it was, I'll check the year real quick. I should have done this before filming the video, but it's from 1947, so it isn't like a modern day, very rich house on Cape Cod. This is, before all of the big tourism came in. And so, yeah, this is maybe more quiet Cape Cod, which will be nice to read. And this is also from Steve Donahue's shelf. I took it from her shelf. No, I don't know how to pronounce it. Cache Lake Country: Life in the North Woods by John J. Rowlands. And this is also a nature book. Let's see. It's about a man, Rowlands, who set out in a canoe into the wilds of Maine, and he was a surveyor. And so I'm sure it's the winner of a National Outdoor Book Award. So yeah, this will make me want to go hiking. I've never been canoeing in the woods, but yeah, this will be a nice nature memoir of sorts. And then this is what I'm going to be reading. I mentioned this in my recommendations video because my boyfriend wanted a book about books, and so this one came to mind. And then I recommended it to you guys as well. And so me talking about it made me want to reread it. It's a really short book, and it's just a delightful book. And just to give you a kind of example, like her little snippet before the book starts. It says, "For everyone who's ever finished a book under the covers with a flashlight when they were supposed to be sleeping." And so I'm sure a lot of us can identify with that. And so yeah, I'm going to be rereading this one. And then the last library book I have, it kind of ties in with the theme of books. This is The Social Life of Books: Reading Together in the 18th Century Home by Abigail Williams. And this is all about, again, it's self-explanatory, about how people were, kind of like the life of books during the 1800s, because it's not the same as now with, as easy access to books, with ebooks and audiobooks. And so, how were people associating with books during the 1800s? So yeah, I thought this would be very interesting. And then moving on to books I own myself, this is one I mentioned as in a haul. This is Moonbound, Apollo 11 and the Dream of Spaceflight by Jonathan Fetter Vorm. And this is a nonfiction graphic novel, and it's all about, the moon landing and space. And so, yeah, I thought this would be I haven't read a physical book this year. I mean, not a physical book, like a normal novel normal novel. Oh my gosh, normal book on the moon landing. So I thought, I want to get one in for the anniversary, and so yeah, this would work for that. And then I have the other one I just mentioned in my haul. This is The Best American Science in Nature Writing by it's edited by Cy Montgomery, and this is the 2019 edition. And I got this during the BookTube meetup. The BookTube Prize meetup, and so yeah, I wanted to get this one sooner rather than later. And this is gonna, I really like this kind of books because I can find also all sorts of new authors to read. Because I know Cy Montgomery, I've read several of her books, and there's a lot of people in here that I've never heard of. And so yeah, I this is like these two subjects are like totally my jam, and so yeah, this will be a nice thing to read. And so I think, when I'm reading all nonfiction this month, so it'll be nice to kind of break up, read these slowly throughout the month. And then have Voices in the Ocean: A Journey into the Wild and Haunting World of Dolphins by Susan Casey. And I think this is on Olive's TBR as well, or she recommended something like I've seen this on our channel. And so this is, it's all about dolphins and like their history, but also the history of how we have used them in positive and negative ways, probably more negative than positive, and what's their future going to be like. So yeah, this will be I'm sure very enlightening. And then moving on to history, I have My Dearest Friend, Letters of Abigail and John Adams, and this is edited by Margaret A. Hogan and James Taylor. And I really got into reading about the Adams family. Adams, no, it's not Halloween. Not that Adams family. It actually is Halloween. No. Oh boy. Anyway, okay. So I read the John Adams biography by David McCullough, and that really sparked my interest in him. And so I've read a couple books on since then on him and his son, and I've read a couple of their diaries. But I haven't read the letters between the two of them. And the letters featured pretty prominently in the biography of John Adams that McCullough wrote. And so I wanted to, because both of them were, a lot of the time when they were married, they spent their lives apart. And so, you get a lot of their communication through letters. And so yeah, this is gonna be a nice thing to read. And there's also pictures in here of like their home, and here's a picture of them like when they were younger. And here's some of their family. So yeah, this will be nice to get to. And then going to Civil War history, this is Bruce Catton's This Hallowed Ground, the story of the Union side of the Civil War. And so Bruce Catton, he has written several series of books on the Civil War, featuring the Union side and then both of them together. But in this one, it's just focusing on the Union side throughout the war. But this is like one by considered like a series of books. And so I've only read a series, so this was my first like single book by him. And here he is on the back. I don't think there's any pictures in here, but there's a bunch of notes and stuff I have. When it came with the book in there, it's like a map on the end papers of all of the battles. And so yeah, if you like Civil War history, I would highly recommend Bruce Catton, because he just brings it to life. He's a really good author. He knows his stuff. Most of his books, I think all of his books are on the Civil War, and so yeah, he was very educated in that. And this book, I think it's won a couple of prizes. Pulitzer Prize. He won a Pulitzer Prize for A Stillness at Appomattox. That was part of his one of his series. But yeah, I think this book also won a couple of awards. But I have like an old edition, so I don't know what it won. But yeah, that one. And then I have The Rise and Fall of Alexander Hamilton by Robert A. Hendrickson. And I know a lot of people have read Hamilton by, the author's escaping me, but the Hamilton that started the play. I'm sure a lot of people know about that. But this is, not that. This was written years and years, decades before this. This was published in 1981. And so, yeah, I have this on my shelf. I don't have the other Hamilton, but so yeah, I thought I would read this and then maybe read the other one to compare to see what was all included in this one that wasn't in the other one, and vice versa. Let's see, and then going to moving out of Revolutionary War time, I have a couple of World War II books. This is In the Garden of Beasts by Eric Larson. And let's see, the subtitle is Love, Terror, in an American Family in Hitler's Berlin. And this is it opens in 1933, and this is before, kind of like before Hitler was known for being the terror and evil person that he was. This was like right when he became like a prominent German leader, and so people at the time had misconceptions of who he was, and so this is all about a family who goes to Germany, and how at first they're kind of enthralled by him with all of his propaganda, but then as they learn more, they're horrified by him, and so yeah, this will be an interesting book. And then I have Stalingrad, The Fateful Siege, 1942 to 43 by Anthony Beevor, and this is when Hitler goes to Russia. The big battle in Stalingrad, and how the Russians were fighting with him, trying to hold Hitler off, and yeah, it's just the battle of Stalingrad, which I haven't read a whole book about. So this one I thought it really caught my eye at the bookstore, because I read a lot of history, but not anything specific. So I don't know as much about World War II as I would like, and so this will help me along my journey of learning more about all the different battles. And then the last book I have is the kind of going back to the nature writing. This is The Bat in My Pocket, A Memorable Friendship by Amanda Lohler, and here she is on the back. And this is a really short little book. Is there pictures in here? I think there is. Yeah, there's a couple illustrations on the chapter headers. So yeah, I don't know as much about bats. Same with all these other subjects. I don't know as much about bats as I would like. And I love these nature books where, there's a wild animal that encounters people, and then how they're not exactly they're pets, but they're not exactly pets, but how they're brought together, and you kind of recognize them, as their own person, their own character. And I think it's a good way of learning about nature and seeing how they interact with humans. So yeah, I love these kind of stories. This is about let's see, how a chance encounter with an injured bat led to rapport with one of the world's most maligned and misunderstood creatures. So yeah, this will be this little delightful book to read. So these are all my physical TBR plans. As you can see, I have an endless, I don't know if I can hold it up. I took a picture of my cat on it because I was tall enough, and she really likes jumping up high on things. I thought she would probably be okay on this teetering pile of books. If I could build like a book tower up up to the ceiling, she would be happily climbing that as a staircase. But anyway, it was tall enough for her to pique her interest. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, BookTube.